By putting it on a boat?
Putting it on a barge. So it's not on the land.
Yeah, that's what they do in Iowa. You're not allowed to. So they have like a fixed boat, and it's called the boat, and people go there. It's really fucking stupid, yeah.
Like, why don't you just amend the law? Like, just make it easier. It's ridiculous, but it's kind of hilarious at the same time to see like buildings floating.
Mm-hmm.
And my dad still lives there. It's pretty fun, but I don't want to live there.
Well.
Yeah, we've been talking about moving to like LA or like an actual big city. 'Cause Phoenix is nice, but it's small compared to most cities. There's not really too much to do.
What is the population of Phoenix?
I don't know. I don't think about that. Maybe like a
Phoenix is a pretty fucking big city. Damn, 1.6 million, probably for them.
1 million-ish?
It's got to be a top.
Well, the thing is, like, it's sprawled out.
It's the fit. Oh, okay, that might be.
So, like, Phoenix has all these like, little fingers. They're, like, everywhere. And there's little chunks cut out of it for, like, Scottsdale and Mesa. But it's, like, all the way up to basically the north part can be considered Phoenix.
Uh-huh.
Because we live in, like, downtown on one of the mountains, and it's nice. But once you get out of, like, the downtown area, there's, like, nothing. It's just dirt.
Well, you're in like a literal hell desert, right?
True, yeah. Phoenix is a testament to man's hubris.
True. I mean, technically, really, all of California is too.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure like every year they've got to dig like further and further north to like bring water down to the city because it's actually desert. Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. My sister is saying that New Zealand is pretty nice.
New Zealand is super beautiful.
I'd love to live there. The immigration process is apparently even harder than the U.S.
It is difficult, yeah. I don't know if I'd say harder than the U.S. The U.S. is like the hardest country in the world for some fucking reason to get into. It's insane.
Well, her husband, she was either going to move there or he was going to move here. And it was easier for her to move there because, like, she, I guess, could get a working visa.
Work visas are easy to get there. Yeah.
In there, but he couldn't get one here because he worked at, like, in, like, a trade, not in, like, a fancy sector or anything.
Yeah.
And my dad was saying it was the opposite because for my mom to get German citizenship would be like next to impossible, but for him to get a citizenship to the United States was super easy because he joined the Navy.
Damn.
I guess it's just different for everybody.
Okay. Hi, I'm back, guys. Okay. Somebody said it's impossible for you shouldn't be blowing circuits with two PCs. Likely they are GFCI, AFCI at the breaker and acting faulty. Are you sure? Hold on.
But they haven't factored in that I'm actually a robot and I'm stealing all the power.
Yeah, are you? Are you plugged in right now?
I'm like one of those new sex bots, actually.
Nice. The Jewish ones. My external battery with only my two PCs plugged in and nothing else plugged in, my UPS easily it hits my cap of 900 watts. I think it's 900 watts is what this is. So if that's 900 plus two monitors, audio stuff, everything else, I feel like hitting 1400 is not out of the question. Am I crazy? Can you ask her if she grew up Orthodox? I don't think she heard you.
What?
Somebody wants to know if you grew up Orthodox.
No.
Here, if you're gonna listen.
Oh.
Pull up a chair. They get really triggered when they can't hear you talk because you're just like in the background, okay? So.
I'll actually pick it up this time. See, you didn't ruin the carpet.
Good job. There's a very nice $20 Amazon carpet. Mike, and speak right into it, okay?
Okay.
Like you're a professional, all right?
Okay. I did not grow up Orthodox. I actually... Oh.
What? Hold on. This is what you look like.
Good.
Yeah,
no
just
one,
like
no
that?
one needs to know. No one needs to know.
Okay.
I'm secretive.
Gotcha, okay.
Besides, they went outside.
Nice, okay.
Okay.
Right into the microphone.
Okay.
There you go. Good job. All right.
So, I did not grow up Orthodox. I actually went into like the Orthodox world in college at ASU. Chabad is everywhere. If you've ever been to New York and seen people asking you if you're Jewish or if you want to light candles, that's Chabad. They're pretty nice. It just wasn't for me. But because I'm Jewish, they kind of like welcomed me and said, here's somewhere where you can go and study and make friends. And it was pretty cool. It's like a student organization. I ended up doing an internship in Brooklyn with Chabad. And I just realized it was way too like strict for me. The person I
Someone
was dating,
said, tell her that going to Chabad to drink doesn't count.
I actually did not go to drink. I was underage the whole time I was at ASU, so I did not get the full experience.
Wow.
Yeah, I don't even think that the one at ASU like has a lot of alcohol. I think that the other Jewish organizations, and there's 3, have more partying than Chabad. But it was just way too like strict, and they believed some stuff that I just couldn't wrap my head around. But the person I was dating at the time was like really, really into it. I couldn't. Sorry, there's just some stuff that like they were saying, like if you turn on a light switch on Shabbat, that you will like immediately perish. Or
I've got a friend,
yeah.
Dan, that believes that.
Yeah, and like I understand. I think that a lot of people have like different ways of interpreting things. It just wasn't what I personally could like believe and really feel as strongly as a lot of people did. So I kind of walked away. But I still have friends who are in it, and I support them because everybody has their own like path.
Cringe.
But well, they also speak Yiddish like all the time, and because they speak German, I was so confused because Yiddish is super, super similar to German, but it's not the same.
Yiddish is related to German?
Yiddish is very similar to German. It's like Hebrew, German, and Russian kind of mixed together. And there's other influences as well, but it's really
Wait, can you
similar.
understand Yiddish?
Some of it. Sometimes it's like, I know some of these words.
Close your eyes. You're about to get tested. Are you ready?
Okay, let's see. My coffee fits in the thing.
Yeah, it is indeed a cup holder, and that is a cup. Okay, hold on.
I'm peeking.
Don't look.
I feel like I'm like wobbling back and forth.
Brothers and sisters.
We're going to find a Yiddish. Ask her if she knows the Kaddish or the Kaddish by heart. Do you?
The Mourner's Kaddish?
I don't know. Okay, wait. Sorry, speaking Yiddish.
Mijn eerste spraak is Yiddish.
Do you know what that means?
Their first language is Yiddish.
Lucky. That was lucky. Okay. Do the next one.
Ik red nog Yiddish to mijn mama, mijn tata, mijn Schwester.
He lives with his mother, father, and sister.
Okay, lucky. Hold on.
Dat is mijn Schwester, mijn
I
bride.
can barely hear it, by the way.
Oh, shit. I didn't give you headphones. Here you go.
Thank you. Do I have to keep my eyes closed for this?
Well, yeah, because I can't have you reading the
Okay.
subtitles. I'm using a cross-check.
Ik ben geboren in Williamsburg.
He is from
Is de
Williamsburg.
Was jeder weiß jetzt. De eerste, the original.
They are from the original group.
Ik heb geleerd English when ik ben gegaan in school.
He learned English in school.
Okay, I don't care. You watch this video. Whatever. Okay, good one. Lucky. Okay. Wait, hold on.
He's got a really good accent, though. If that's not like that might, I think that is his first language, though. But he's got like the Hochdeutsch accent perfect.
What is... Okay, Hebrew is not related at all to fucking Yiddish or German, right?
No, Hebrew came first.
Where does Yiddish come from?
Okay.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Yiddish came from individuals who were living in shtetls or small villages in centralized Europe primarily, who would have grown up hearing Hebrew and using Hebrew as a language of like the Jewish people. Hebrew's been around for a really long time, and for a long time Hebrew was the language that services were conducted in. So if you didn't understand Hebrew, you wouldn't really know what was going on in services. And they were living in like Central Europe or Western Europe. So German and Russian were the primary languages used because a lot of them were living in the former Holy Roman Empire or the Russian Empire. So naturally, they just kind of integrated these languages together, just like we would make like slang words or integrate different languages together over time, over like centuries. And it became kind of a Jewish cultural language that's been preserved. It has almost been like lost, and it's been revived a lot, and thanks to organizations like Chabad that do teach it as like a language, like a second language.
Okay.
There's no country that has it as its official language, but it is like widely used in Jewish communities. Some places, even in Brooklyn or in other places in the United States where you would assume that people would have their first language as English, use like Yiddish as their primary language. I've met people in like Orthodox neighborhoods in Brooklyn whose only language was Yiddish. pretty interesting. There's a really cool book called Becoming From, which it's kind of a struggle to read because it's very long, but it talks about the different linguistics of the Orthodox people and the Yiddish language. So
Wow.
it's just kind of like a linguistics book, but I find it interesting. Not a lot of people would.
How many people do you think died in the Holocaust? How many Jews?
Millions. 6
I'm
million is what I...
just testing it. No, I'm just kidding. Can you recite the Shema from memory?
Yes. Like the whole thing or just the beginning?
I don't know what that even is. I'm just fielding questions from chat right now.
The Shema is the prayer that you're supposed to say every morning when you wake up and if you're about to die. So you would cover your eyes and say Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, and then there's more to it. But if you were in mortal danger, you would cover your eyes and say the Shema because you are supposed to say it as your last words. And the first thing that you do when you wake up is thank Hashem for waking you and say the Shema.
Was that what you were
and
saying
when you go to
yesterday
bed.
when I was driving you around?
Yeah. No, yeah, actually, yes. But when you go to bed, you're supposed to say it too. I always forget that one.
Gotcha.
But yeah, when you picked me up, I was like, please just don't let me die.
Okay. Boom, boom. Okay, I'm buying another UPS. That should work. All right. Oh. Is there... Cake, you said there are thick gauge extension cords? Extension cord. Because I want one that's probably not going to melt after using it for a long time. Does she believe Moses actually existed?
Oh, I have to wheel back in for this.
Yeah?
I was trying to phase myself out. I think that the stories in the Torah are really interesting. They're very proverbial.
Okay.
So they are to give you the idea of something, the idea of a miracle, the idea of belief so strong that it could move oceans. But in reality, we know that probably did not happen the way that it's written.
Wow. Wait, are you actually... You're not... I think you said this. You're not, religiously Jewish, right?
I don't practice. I still, have some, habits, and I still follow some of the mitzvot, but I don't, separate meat and dairy. I don't have any mezuzot in my house. I don't I do keep Passover, but that's just a cultural thing.
What does it mean to keep Passover?
Taking all of the leavened or wheat containing foods out of your house or selling it to someone, not eating any kind of leavened or wheat things, anything that's not kosher for Passover for the entire week, and basically staying up all night reading the stories. So there's a lot more to it than just not eating pork and shellfish.
How long
and
does
I can't do
Passover
that.
last?
A week.
Okay. That's not too bad, I guess.
Yeah,
do you
it's
guys
not
do
as bad.
Ash Wednesday, or is that a Catholic thing? Oh, okay. Or
No,
Christian?
ours ends where Jesus begins. So it goes all the way up to King Nebuchadnezzar, and that's it.
Passover was... Or no, wait. Ash Wednesday, that was a Jesus thing, right?
I think so. I think that was when he went into Jerusalem.
Yeah, it was, because I think Jesus was the dude with the ashes. Oh, and Passover. Was
Passover.
that when was that when you had to... Okay, hold on. My biblical history is really bad sometimes. Is that where they put the blood on the doors so that the ghost of Jesus or of God would pass over the houses and not kill the firstborn children in fucking Egypt or some shit?
Yes. So it was when they marked their doorways as the children of Israel, which they did not have that name quite yet officially, but they marked their doorways so that the angels, well, not quite the spirit of Hashem, which is kind of different, but not really, would not they would not be affected by that final plague. And that was pretty interesting because it was one of the only stories that is very literally told. It said that this literally happened and you have to believe it 100%. I couldn't really vibe with that, but I thought it was interesting. It's just supposed to be a metaphor about not hardening your heart to change and working with people instead of against them.
That's supposed to be a metaphor about not hardening your heart to change?
So
Passover is?
No, the whole story.
The whole story of Moses?
Yes.
Oh.
So Moses is the entire theme is transformation. He goes from being a prince of Egypt to being a leader in a different sense. So relying entirely on the identity given to him by someone else to leading his people as his own thing.
Okay.
And then towards the end of the story of Moses, where he is actually allowed to see the land of Israel but not enter it because he himself transgressed despite knowing better.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Never mind. I
Like,
forgot
it's
that
a whole
Moses, he
transformation
started off
thing.
as
It's
like a
pretty
prince
cool.
dude because they found him in the river, right?
Right.
Okay.
And in the Jewish version, his mother was actually allowed to raise him. Well, not raise him, but like to know him. Because I think the Christian version, he just kind of like pushed off into the river and never seen again. But in the Jewish version, his mother is actually allowed to come into the palace and like nurse him and like know him as a baby at least. So I thought that was kind of different, but it's like a whole transformation in different like aspects of this person and knowing himself enough to be a leader in his own right rather than just being like a prince and being handed everything. At least that's what I was told. I could be completely wrong.
Okay. Cringe
Yeah,
Bible
it's true.
stories, but okay.
I'm incredibly cringe, but
No, the
It's
stories
okay.
are cringe. You might be
Yeah.
cringe too, but
Let's
okay.
see.
Okay, are we good? Do we have more Jewish questions? What do you think of
Questions?
Islam?
I
Don't say
Don't
anything.
really
No,
know
for your
much about
career's
it.
sake, let's just move on. Okay.
don't really know very much about it, so
Okay. Okay. All right. I'm talking to a Bolivian dude now.
all right.
Any final words? Do you have any final words?
I got distracted by the emotes.
Oh.
The person who called it said Christianity is the DLC for Judaism.
Yeah.
I saw it once referred to as Return of the Jedi. Like Christianity is Return of the Jedi. It's like the sequel.
Oh,
But-
sure. Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay. Well, have fun. I'll talk to you
Yeah.
later. I think I'll probably chat to this dude when we go get food or something if you want, okay? Be careful. Okay. Boom, boom.
My little tiny brush.
Your little...
world's tiniest comb, and I can't find it
Why?
because it's cute.
Yeah, but it seems not functional. What do you use it on? And it's itty bitty?
Well, yes, it's little.
Okay. I have like real brushes in my room if you want to...
That's a good idea.
If you want to use a real one, or you can find the...
If I find it, I'll show it to you.
Okay. Okay, 12 gauge, heavy duty, yellow extension cable. I'm buying some of these. Okay. Why do I have to do a code on my phone every time I want to buy some weird shit now? Are you going to come out of retirement for the $500,000 StarCraft 2 tourney? Wait, what? Hold on. Okay. Boom, boom, boom. I feel like if nothing else, the UPSs will help me measure my wattage, so. Do you want Zerka on your fresh and fit appearance to derail? I don't know if I'll do it if Zerka's there, actually. Oh, God, this is going to be so cucked. Fuck. I don't want to, I'm not trying to blacklist Zerka. I'm not doing that episode with Zerka there. I won't do it. But now I feel like that's going to make it seem like I'm literally blacklisting him. That's what it's going to sound like. I thought you were cool with him now. I mean, we're okay-ish, but Myron said that there's going to be debate about like the Jewish question and fucking Holocaust denialism and shit. I'm not having that conversation with Nick fucking Fuentes with Zerka there derailing every retarded fucking thing. I'm not doing that conversation with him there. It'll be unmanageable as fuck. Are you prepared for that debate? Yeah, I read a lot of shit on my flights. I'm also super... I feel like here's what I feel like happens. I read a lot about... I'm going to be honest. I didn't tweet this because it sounds like such a stereotypical cucked question. I really want to buy a book. What is like the best MLK book? I did a lot of research on civil rights shit and civil rights movement and stuff as I was flying too, because I was curious about was pacifism and nonviolence really the answer? I feel like this is something that happens. I feel like you learn something in terms of like correct being versus incorrect. I feel like I learned something in school, and then I feel like I learned from lefties that it's like super, super, super wrong. And then I do more research. I'm like, oh no, it was actually way more correct than I ever thought. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to stop saying this. I need to stop saying my history's bad, because I think compared to most of you retards, I don't actually think it is. I read a lot about like nonviolence and the utilization of it. The Albany movement, the stuff that went on in Birmingham and Selma, the difference between like MLK and Malcolm X, who I think I need to do a little bit more specific research on Malcolm X. Malcolm X might just be a cucked loser fuck, okay? But heads up, this is preliminary, okay? I obviously need to do more focused research. But like I had in mind that there are like all of these like really big like civil rights leaders, like Malcolm X was super important and MLK was super important. I don't know if these two people should even be brought up in the same sentence. I don't know if that's the case. But again, to be honest, maybe I need to do more reading specifically on Malcolm X. But yeah, the MLK stuff and the understanding of the nonviolence and like the strategies that they use. Some of the more interesting things was how effective nonviolence was, and that at some point both sides actually started to realize how important nonviolence was. So like before all the Birmingham protests, there was an Albany movement, Albany, I think is what it's called, Albany, that completely failed. And one of the reasons why it failed was because the police commissioner there knew the tactics that MLK and his group of people utilized, and he was incredibly precise about there will be no police beating anybody, there will be no fucking lynching, no fucking dogs, we're gonna arrest people, we're gonna disperse them to all the county jails, and we're not gonna give them the clippable moments that they're looking for. But once they went to Birmingham, what was the name of the guy there? There's a name. I should have these names memorized. I'll memorize them if I actually do these debates, because I think I got some lined up. Something the Bulldog is what they called him. Albany? It might be Albany, sorry. Fuck, what was this guy? He had a nickname for how... Oh, no. It was Eugene the Bull. Connor's what they called him. This is when the MLK group started to pull kids out of schools, and they were like, listen, if we can get dogs to eat kids on camera, that shit will be cray. Not exactly like that. But that was essentially probably the reason why that movement was so successful there too. Just in reading about a lot of the nonviolence principles and how it was working and everything, it was very, very, very interesting to me. But yeah, the nonviolence shit is base as fuck in terms of rhetorical and optical strategy and everything. But I'm sorry, I'm like, my brain, I just regurgitated like 35 different things. Okay. They would actually practice being assaulted and responding with humanity. Yeah, actually, yeah. But now I'm even more triggered now when I see these retarded fuck lefties on Twitter being like, actually, there was a ton of violence that was used in the movement. Yeah, when the violence was used, it didn't work. It sucked. It was bad when the, you were saying that MLK was farming clips? Yeah, essentially. Those kids getting eaten by the dogs, that was farming clips for the world. That was insane, yeah. It had like literally the entire world on the side of those people. But it was also arguably, talk about controversial strategy, is like going into high schools and colleges knowing that like it was easier to get children to be more ideologically aligned because they're more easy to manipulate, and then basically getting them to march up and down in lines to desegregate places and then to get attacked. Because I think MLK initially wasn't even a big fan of that strategy because it was super controversial. But I mean, it ended up being also incredibly fucking effective. But yeah, but it's super interesting. Okay, sorry. MLD. Yeah, it was MLD. Okay, I need to call and talk to this guy. Okay, ready when you are. Why even bother with that community now? I mean, it's always good to know expanded knowledge. And it's not to be super cringe, but I see myself in MLK a lot. You know, we share a lot in common. No, but honestly, the way that the way that MLK would fight with those communities mirrors a lot of what I see works in online rhetoric for fighting communities too. That it almost feels like you have to make yourself a character that can be attacked by other people without responding with aggression, and it tends to make people very sympathetic or favorable. Like I kind of have stumbled onto a lot of these answers through my all of my debating and arguing and everything too, right? So it's interesting to see that play out in the real world versus like online politics, you know. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hi, what's up?
Hey, man. Thanks for having me. Am I coming out okay? Everything
Yeah.
good?
What's up? Introduce yourself. You emailed me, you wanted to chat, and now you have your moment.
Okay, give me a second. I'm getting double feed. Okay.
Yeah, no problem.
I'm Bolivartarian. I'm from Bolivia. I'm a big fan,
Mhm.
recent but big fan. So yeah, I wrote you because I've been following the whole debacle of what you were talking about, the pacifists versus violence and everything.
Yeah.
And actually, I was an active part of the protest in Bolivia in 2019, which I think are very relevant to the conversation because there was, on the one hand, a lot of misinformation from the left, like trying to paint a very, very, very different picture that was really happening. But also the non-violence part, it was a really, really big component of that. So yeah, I wanted to share my 2 cents to the conversation, and will hopefully give you some data that you can use to melt some leftist brains.
Yeah, go for it. What was your fuck. Hold on, wait. Let me do one text message real quick. This is gonna feel like such a cuck. Hold on. Dude, it's just gonna be so dramatic. Do you know Zerka? Do you watch that part of my stream? I'm supposed to do a fresh and fit debate against Nick Fuentes over JQ shit, and Myron is telling me that Zerka might be there. I can't do it with Zerka, but like if I tell him that like I'm not gonna be there, Zerka's there, it feels like I'm blacklisting Zerka. Like that, it's.
Yeah, maybe tell him that you're not willing to do that particular debate with Cerca. It sounds like more.
Yeah, but the idea of being on a show with Nick Fuentes, I don't mind him when I have him one-on-one in my environment, but on another show, if it's a debate, that's okay. But I don't know if I want to go on another show and then be jokey and laughy with him. Like I can do it with the Fresh and Fit guys because I think the dating shit is cringe and all that. Yeah. But like the Fuentes, like the Nazi shit is like to be joking and laughing and doing all that, especially with fucking Zerka there and everything. That just seems like horrible.
Yeah, Cerca, I see it going it the wrong way. But to be fair, the Fresh and Fit guys, when they were moderating your debate with Raul Somasi, they were like quite neutral. So
yeah, but Rolo,
I don't see that happening yet with Cerca. Yeah,
that is true. But Rolo and Mike Sartain were like very cordial. There wasn't much moderating they had to do. But like Zerka is like unhinged coke energy. Okay. Oh my god. Okay, hold on. We can do an offer. Hold on. I've learned how to negotiate better recently. Okay. Okay. Oof. I can debate Nick/Sneeko because they said Sneeko might be there too. That's fine. On JQ stuff, etc. But Zerka would derail that convo like crazy. It might be fun to have him for the after show, but I don't think I can do a legitimate debate on super serious topics with Zerka. Derailing that conversation. Okay. Oh my god, I feel like such a cock after. Okay. So what was your involvement? First of all, how old are you, if you don't mind saying?
I'm in my middle to late 30s.
Okay,
so
gotcha.
Kind of the same.
And then you are tell me what your like involvement was insofar as like protest. Were you just like out on the street? Are you like super politically active? Were you like an organizer? Like yeah, why were you involved in the protest? Or was like it was just so many people in Bolivia yeah.
So basically I consider myself a sort of free agent, so to speak, maybe like a political solid snake.
Okay.
So I'm not like part of a bigger movement. But I'm constantly super active in everything I can. I'm constantly trying to stay update on anything I that's happening. And when I see like an opening that I can join and help in whatever way I can,
Okay.
then I go for it. And that's hopefully what will come out from this.
Okay.
So in Bolivia, specifically, I was working with an organization. Well, I was one of the many volunteers. I prefer not to give too much information about exactly what I was doing because, well, there can be real life consequences for this talk. So I prefer to, in a way, to not give too much information that could help someone pinpoint me.
Yeah, that's fine.
But I was also involved on the more ground floor, like being with the general population. So I'm from Santa Cruz. It's the economical capital of the city and the bastion of the opposition. And it's around 2 million people now. It's a big city. And pretty much the whole city was paralyzed for the protests.
Gotcha.
So I don't know in which part do you want to focus?
Yeah.
focus
So when
more
you
on?
were protesting, why did you feel the need to protest? Like, do you think that there was impropriety with the courts? Did you not trust the election results? Like, what was your
Okay, so it's actually a long story because it wasn't that everything was perfect and one day we just decided to protest against Evo. So basically he got elected in 2005. I voted for him actually. It was my first time voting and he seemed like the right choice, anti-establishment, pro-indigenous rights, etc., etc. But a couple of years later we had I don't know how you would say in English, the Constitutional Assembly, something like that.
Okay.
We were going to have a new constitution, so we had elections to pick people that would that would write the new constitution, and then we would vote on it. So at that point, they were like trying to push a very, very far left constitution, and they were super anal about it. They weren't willing to negotiate and give up on many of the points. And they basically, it started in I think it was the lobby of a hotel, so it was a civilian building, and they didn't get to an agreement on time. So basically, they unilaterally decided to move it to a military building. First, very, very red flag.
Okay.
And then they sent their own people, what we call in Bolivia social movements, which are like the colectivos in Venezuela, which kind of there's some resemblance with what I see of Antifa in USA, but it's basically like an assorted group of people that you can't identify individually most of the time, but they're supposedly representatives of the will of the people. Yet by some reason, they always seem to be at the right place at the right time, and the police has the right indication on how to deal with them, or how not to deal with them. So in this case, basically, they said, go and into the entrances of the military building, quote unquote, you're celebrating that we have a new constitution, but basically they didn't let anyone from the opposition get inside the building. Like they had stick and stones, they were beating the fuck out of them. And obviously the police weren't doing anything, so they had no way to physically go into the building. And the people, well, the only thing the police was doing was shooting at the protesters against the whole situation, the students from the city. They ended up killing 3 and hurting a lot more. And the people inside, instead of going, you know what, this is untenable. They were like, whoopsie, I guess they were like too hungover or something to come. So yay or nay, yay, hey, we have quorum, yay, we have a new constitution, basically.
Do you
for me that
or go on?
for me that was the first time that okay, sure we can be pro-indigenous rights and whatever, but this is not how we do democracy in the 21st century. That was the time they lost me, and then there were a fact of more things. They kept continuing using that strategy on Congress to approve laws whenever they wanted without the opposition, physically not letting them go in, stuff like that. So, yeah, what was your question?
What was like the general feeling? I'm trying to think because there's a few big things that were talked about in the online political sphere. One had to do with the election itself, on whether or not there was like potentially fraud to avoid the runoff. I remember there was a lot of analysis done of like where the votes went, when the votes stopped, when they restarted. The idea that all of them ran through these kind of like unsecured or unverified servers where theoretically some information was hard to validate. And then that was a big issue that was brought up. Another big issue was Morales himself and their party basically changing the constitutional limits on the presidential terms.
Yep. That's why I was getting at, because the constitution part was important.
And then the third one that we hear a lot is that I hear a lot in the United States was obviously like CIA involvement to help you guys throw out Evo Morales from the country. I guess in terms of like all the information,
we can't overthrow presidents on our own.
Yeah, in terms of all the information that came out, and everything, what do you feel like were some of the worst talking points that you heard that like were frustrating to you guys?
Well, hearing Bosch's take almost made me pop a vein.
Okay.
In general, it was like the usual leftist tactic that trying to bend the facts as much as you can without them actually breaking. But I heard Bosch drop something that he just straight up pulled out of his ass. I mean, to be fair, there might have been some misinformation that led him to believe that actually was happening. But he was like, yeah, maybe he like didn't do the right things, but whatever, like trying to justify it. But then he says something like, there were military tanks going into the presidential palace. That's a coup.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. If A, then B, of course. If that's happening, then of course it's a coup. But that never happened, not in the last 50 years at least. But then I remember at the time there was a video that people were showing that I think it looked kind of like a war zone. I think there might have been like a military vehicle, maybe a tank even, and there was a Bolivian flag, what appeared to be a Bolivian flag, but then the original video came out and it was actually from Iraq, and someone had messed with the color balance so that the Iraq flag would kind of look like the Bolivian flag.
Gotcha.
So if I'm being very charitable, maybe that's what he saw. But yeah, in general, the takes were like out of this world, like we're looking at completely different pictures. So, well, the constitution part, so in the previous constitution, there was no re-election. It was one time and you're out. And since the beginning, they wanted indefinite re-election in the new constitution. Since they won, they weren't willing to bulge. It was a line in the sand. And another very random point, but made sense later. They also wanted to change the name of the country from Republic of Bolivia to Plurinational State of Bolivia. Supposedly, like to include indigenous people's rights and whatever. So there was also a lot of international mediation at the time. I think the OAS and UN maybe, or European Union were also involved. And they were like, okay, yeah, dude, whatever, you're trying to have your lefty paradise, but at least like give them this. They were trying to, like the opposition, they were asking for, okay, let's at least keep re-election to 2-term limits. And they were like, okay, yeah, whatever. And they ended up giving up on that. So there was 2 re-elections. Then he wins the next re-election on 2009. And then he's like, yeah, you know what? I'm running again for 2013. And we're like, wait, what the fuck? What are you talking about? And he's like, yeah, because the first time I ran for president, I was elected president of Republic of Bolivia. This is my first term as president of the plurinational state of Bolivia. And I still have a second one for the plurinational state of Bolivia.
Yeah, gotcha.
So for anyone with more than 2 brain cells, since 2013, he was already an illegitimate, illegal, and unconstitutional president of Bolivia. But his Supreme Court was like, yeah, he's actually right.
Yeah, there's a lot of fighting over like whether or not the it's been a while since I read any of this, but like the basically he chose people to go on the court to back the constitutional change to allow him to be reelected. So some people are arguing that he had the right to,
basically, since day one, he started stacking everything. So in Latin America, we're in general very presidentialist forms of government. It's like very centralist. The president has a fuck ton of power. So to give you an idea, the first election of Evo in 2005, it was the first time ever that we elected state governors by vote. Before that, they were chosen by the president at will. So starting from that, he continued to gain more and more and more power. He started doing things like what I told you for approving laws until they got tired and they were like, you know what? Why don't we just do that once more and change the internal regulations? So most of the laws, we don't need 2/3 to approve them. We just need simple majority, which we have, and they did that. They did the same with the people on the, the institution that oversees the electoral process. I don't know what's the term in English. But yeah, basically they, like every good socialist government, they started putting their claws on everything, being incredibly suppressive with the press. And it's not like Trump that, oh yeah, the press is bad, they're lying. They were like real hard economic asphyxiation to the media. Actually, one of my favorite newspapers from Bolivia, I think it was the biggest independent one, just closed a couple of days ago because they couldn't continue funding anymore because the government basically says anyone that buys ads in these newspapers is our enemy and we're going to fuck them up in every way we can. So yeah, and obviously the Supreme Court, it was not going to be the exception. So by the time that happened, a lot of things had already been controlled by him, I guess you could say. So we're also still in 2013. This is the 3rd re-election. The important one is the 4th, the one that came after that. Because after that, he had run out of the excuse of the, well, it's my 2nd term because of the name change and whatever. But he was like, well, I didn't want to continue, but the people asked me to. He always be like,
sorry.